Hi, I'm Cathy Habas, a family safety expert with Safewise, and a lot of you have been asking if the Apple Watch is safe for kids. So I bought an Apple Watch SE, refurbished, and I put it to the test. Let's see how it did. First, let's talk about the good things. Number one, the Apple Watch can grow with your child. All you have to do is relax the settings until they're using all the features. That makes an Apple Watch a potentially better investment than a kid's smartwatch, and it's even better if you've already got one because, hey, it's already paid for. Next, the SE models in particular are small and lightweight. A common complaint with kids' smartwatches is that they are really big and bulky, especially on a kid's wrist. No shade to this particular brand, but I have an Explorer watch on hand to compare the size to an Apple Watch SE. The third thing I like is that the audio quality is great, no complaints. There are multiple ways for your child to communicate through the watch, including voice to text, emojis, preset responses, and depending on the device, a full text keyboard or a keyboard that they draw on. There are also some unique features, including a geo-fencing rule that alerts you when your child is not where they're supposed to be during a preset time period, and downtime mode, which limits your child to specific apps but doesn't completely shut down the device like in school time mode. Finally, the parental controls cover most of the bases when it comes to keeping your child safe. However, there are some nuances in how it works and how they compare to other kids' smartwatches. So let's take a look at the cons. Now I'm going to start with GPS accuracy. And even though I ran into some trouble with the cellular signal, which I'll explain in a moment, I was still able to do some GPS tests. Unfortunately, the Apple Watch was at least 100 feet off in both the open field test and the outdoor with obstacles test, which makes it the least accurate kids smartwatch that I've tested so far. I honestly expected better from Apple because my iPhone location is always spot on. Now the Apple Watch performed a little bit better in the indoor test. It was only about 25 feet off, so that's on par with other kids' smartwatches. And I do want to point out there is no location history log for an Apple Watch. As for geofencing, I was not able to actually test that because of a cellular connection issue. But I do want to say that your child has to approve all of your geofencing requests. And they only have to do it one time per rule. But that's different from all kids' smartwatches. So if you don't have the best relationship with your child, I don't know that you'll really be able to do any geofencing tracking for them. Now, there are a couple of controls that seem great at the outset, but they don't work the way that you would expect them to. And the first up is school time. This is a feature that's on every kid's smartwatch. It locks down the device so that there's no distractions during school. But there's a weird loophole in the Apple Watch where kids are allowed to get out of school time anytime they want, really. All they have to do is press and hold the digital crown button on the side. The Apple Watch will alert them, warn them that their parent can see that they have exited school time. And then once they say, yeah, fine, exit anyway, they can use any app that they want. Now, parents, you're not going to get a notification that your child has exited school time. You will have to manually go into the school time settings area, and then you can see the date that they exited and how long they exited and how many times that day did they exit. Apple seems to like giving kids the ability to make decisions, but I think they went a little too far with this next feature. It's called Communication Safety in the settings menu, but it's actually a nudity filter. If any photo or video is sent to your child that might contain nudity, the photo or video is blurred. However, there is some fine print that I think a lot of parents will miss. Your child can view sensitive images even with this filter turned on. All they have to do is tap on the blurred photo. They will read through some warnings that explain how nudity could be harmful and could be used against somebody. And then they have the option to ask for help, view more resources, or to just keep going and view the image. Then they will see a second screen that continues with those warnings, but also gives them the option to view the image. And so at the end of the day, they can view sensitive images if they want to. And like I said, I think a lot of parents will be surprised that that's how it works, because if you are looking for a nudity filter, I think that you expect it to blur nudity, end of story, don't have a loophole to get around it. So I'm going to show you a clip of what happened during testing so you can see it for yourself. We shared that clip on social media a few weeks ago, and some folks commented to let me know that you can set up a password for sensitive images for children who are under 13. And I double checked the Apple website, and sure enough, it also says that that should be the case. The test profile I set up is for a 7-year-old, and I did not have that option. And I went back through the settings and looked, and yes, you can set up a screen time passcode, but it was not asked for on the watch. It has only been asked for when I am changing certain settings from the parent screen time settings. So I just want parents to know that this is worth testing just to make sure that it works as expected. Have a conversation with your child about what to do if they see an image come through that is blurred, and just keep that open conversation. And if you want to test it, take it from me, you can fool it with an elbow crease. The last thing I want to mention there is that parents don't get a notification that their child has received potentially sensitive content. So the onus is on the child to start that conversation. You as a parent, you don't know that you might need to broach that subject because it has recently happened. So if this is a major red flag for you and you're really concerned and you want something that does it better, I would recommend the Bark Watch. They will alert parents straight away when there is sensitive content that requires a conversation. A lot of people think that you can protect your child just by controlling who they can talk to, but keep in mind sexual predators are everywhere, even people that you trust, even people of all ages. You just have no idea. All right, moving on. The next major con is how the SOS button works. Now, on kids' smartwatches, there's a dedicated SOS button, and when kids hold and press it, it dials their parents. With the Apple Watch, there is only an option to call 911 in an emergency. Now, if your child does dial 911, the Apple Watch will send a text message to parents and some notifications letting them know that that has happened. But the issue is that some kids may not be mature enough, old enough to understand that there are consequences to calling 911 for a non-emergency, and that can get your child in trouble, you in trouble. It can just be a really big hassle. You can turn this setting off, but there's no way to replace it with a direct-to-parent SOS button. And keep in mind that the Apple Watch needs to be charged daily. It is advertised as having an 18 to 24-hour battery life, and based on my tests, I would say that is accurate for most uses. If your child really gets into using a lot of apps on this watch, then it's going to drain the battery faster. That wraps up the disadvantages that I think parents need to know about. And I think that if you go into this knowing that Apple approaches parental controls a little differently and that you're okay with those differences, I think that this can be a good device for kids, one that can grow with them and last a long time. But if you want a more locked down approach, a kid's smartwatch is a better choice. You can also get more precise GPS tracking with a kid's smartwatch and other features like video calling. No Apple Watches have cameras. If you think an Apple Watch could work for you and your child, the first thing to do is to make sure that you buy the right one. Make sure you buy one that has both GPS and cellular capabilities. All Apple Watches come in either GPS or GPS and cellular. You literally cannot set up an Apple Watch with family sharing for a child account without having that GPS and cellular function. But the next thing you also need to check is carrier compatibility. The cellular carrier that services your iPhone is the same carrier that's going to service your Apple Watch. And you will set that up in settings. I honestly don't know how much it costs. It probably varies because I was not able to take that step myself because not all carriers support all Apple Watches. So for example, I bought the Apple Watch SE and my carrier is AT&T, and those are not compatible. But AT&T will service newer models of Apple Watch. I have more information on this in my written review, which I'll link to down below with some resources to help you make sure that you are buying the right watch. Now, there are tons of things you can do on an Apple Watch, which means there's also tons of parental controls for an Apple Watch, but they're not all located in the same place. You might have to go to 5 or more places on your iPhone to set up an Apple Watch. If your child uses more than one Apple device, like an iPad or an iPhone, the family sharing settings and the screen time settings are going to apply to all of those devices, but then there are separate settings that are just for the Apple Watch. So I'm going to walk you through where to find all of these settings to control an Apple Watch and what I would do to lock it down for a very young child, like say a 7 or 8-year-old getting their very first device. You might have different preferences, and that is okay. There's different ways to parent. Everybody has different relationships with their child, and every child is different. But I'm going to show you what I would do if I really needed to lock it down. All right, we're going to start in settings. Go to family, then choose your child's profile, and we're going to start with screen time. Go to Downtime, enter your screen time passcode, and this is where you can set up downtime for your child's watch, but let them use some features, but not necessarily all features. So it's a little bit different from school time, which we'll get to in a minute. So you can either decide to schedule it or not schedule it, and you can set custom schedules. Every day or custom days. And you can also have just the whole thing blocked at downtime. Now let's go back and we're going to choose what the child can do on their watch during downtime. So for example, it defaults to letting them do messages, FaceTime, and maps. And I had added mindfulness. I thought that might be a good app for any time of day. So you just click it and it will pop back up. If you don't want them using certain features, it's easy to remove. And it'll show basically all the apps that you have to choose from. You can also at the top here limit who your child can communicate with during downtime. So if you want them to only call specific contacts, like I have it set up where he can only call me, or you can do all contacts. So we'll go back. Screen distance is just a toggle on and off. It lets your child know that they are way too close to the screen. Now we're going to move on to communication limits. So I recommend during screen time, this is when your child is allowed to use the watch. I recommend that you change this to contacts only. It defaults at everyone, and that includes unknown numbers. So contacts only. You can also do contacts and groups with at least one contact, but contacts only is going to be the safest solution. So let's go back, and then during downtime, remember we just whatever this is another way you can get to that setting to change that. And definitely turn on manage your child's contacts. Make sure allow contact editing is turned off. Otherwise, your child will be able to set up their own contacts and circumvent the contacts only rule that you just set up. So that's an important loophole to close. You can also add or remove contacts from this screen. There's another way you can access this through the Watch app, but this is where you could choose from your own contacts or just add a brand new contact for your child. And I'm going to go back now and click on Communication Safety. This turns on and off the Apple Watch nudity filter. I definitely recommend that you turn it on. Okay, we're back on this screen and we're going to go to Content and Privacy Restrictions. There is a lot going on here. So first, just make sure that that top button is toggled on. If it's toggled off, you won't be allowed to make any changes. So we'll turn it back on. We're going to go to iTunes and App Store purchases first. And I recommend just shutting it all down. Don't allow your child to install apps, delete apps, or make in-app purchases. Now, even though you just said don't allow in-app purchases, this next section here will require password. That's just going to add an extra layer of protection. It prevents your child from making any other purchases in case they're able to get around any of this. Just make sure a password is required. Now let's go to allowed apps and features. Now you can see that I've already turned some off here, but they default to all being on. So this is what I would turn off. I would turn off Safari, turn SharePlay and AirDrop off, unless those are features that your family uses a lot. But if you do need to use them, you can always come back and toggle this on. Not a big deal. But these apps allow people to share content with your child that maybe you don't want them to share. It's an easy way to get around other restrictions. I would also shut down the iTunes store and podcasts, but on the next screen, we'll go over how you can restrict that to just age-appropriate stuff instead. Going back, we can click on App Store, Media, Web, and Games. And it's thinking about it for a second. So I would go through all of this and make sure that it is age appropriate. So for example, you can choose between clean and explicit music and podcasts, music videos on or off. I would say off, especially for young kiddos. Movies, you can set a rating or just not allow them at all. I'll say G is okay. TV shows, same thing. You can set don't allow or an age restriction. We want clean books. We'll set an age rating for apps. App clips. We'll shut it all down. Web content, you can make sure that your kid is not able to access adult websites, or you can make it where they're only able to access websites that you approve of, and it'll give you a recommended list to start with. That's pretty cool. We'll go back. I would just honestly don't allow anything in the game center either, unless your child asks you and says, I only want to add my bestest friend in the whole wide world. Okay, next up on the list is intelligence and Siri. Image creation, it has this little note here that it's recommended only for people who are 13 and over. So I'm going to shut it down. Writing tools, I'm not sure what this means. Probably ChatGPT-like tools. Intelligence extensions, it says they can help with writing, creating images, answering questions. It is not available for children under 13. Well, that is interesting because my little profile here for my dog, remember, I have him set as a 7-year-old, and yet it says allow. I don't know if I got on the watch, it still would not allow that or not, but I'm going to shut it down anyway, say don't allow. Siri and dictation, we'll say no. Don't, absolutely not. Don't allow, and don't allow. We're going to make our child do all the math themselves, all the writing themselves. A lot of this stuff is up to you and your child. Now for share my location, I make sure that this is on allow. You want your child to know, you want to know where your child's location is. So make sure that's on allow. And then the final section is whether or not you're going to allow your child to make changes to the passcode, Face ID, their accounts. I'll say no to that. Cellular data, speaker volume limit, driving focus TV provider. If you have a really young child, I would just say don't allow any of this. Same thing. Speaker volume limit, that's to protect their hearing. Driving focus, don't allow changes to that. Nope, and nope. And the final thing is manage screen time. This is just where you can change the screen time passcode that you've seen me having to enter in a few times as I make changes here. From this first screen again, we're going to click ask to buy. Just make sure that is toggled on, but also be sure to test this because I was not receiving notifications on my phone after requesting to buy something on the App Store through the watch. So just make sure it works. Then you can also set up Apple Cash. I did not completely set this up. So I'm not sure if there are spending limits, things like that, but this is where you can allow your child to use Apple Cash on their watch, which might be beneficial for like an older kid who's a little bit more independent. Down at the bottom, you can manage the ability to share subscriptions and purchases with your child through their watch. So that's like you have the same app on 2 different devices, but you only have to pay for it once. And then with location sharing, I recommend that you turn on block changes so that your child is not able to share that, turn that off. From the screen, you can also conveniently open the Find My app. This is where you can also turn on geofencing alerts. So swipe up from the bottom and select the person's profile, your child's profile. Make sure your notifications are on. So you may need to go to settings, turn on those notifications. I recommend turning on time-sensitive notifications. So this way, your child has actually left the area. Then you're going to go back to Find My, and now you should have the option to add a notification. Now you can click Add to notify yourself when your child is arriving at or leaving a particular address. And this is pretty cool. You can also get a notification if your child is not at a particular address from a certain time range. So that's kind of cool to know that they are where they're supposed to be, for example, at school. And we're not done yet. We still need to go to the Watch app and adjust a few more settings. So select the device, click that check mark, and then we're going to go to Emergency SOS. So if your child presses and holds the side dial button, the watch will call 911 and alert anybody listed down here as an emergency contact. I recommend actually turning this off, so make sure this is grayed out, because dialing 911 when there's no emergency, that can get you and your kid in trouble. And if your child is too young to understand that and understand when to use 911, you need to make sure that's turned off, or at least that's my recommendation. Now we can go to school time. So this is different from the downtime that you set up earlier. This is specifically for shutting down everything on the watch except for emergency calls. And you can set up a schedule. You can add breaks for like lunchtime. You can, completely customize it. So again, with downtime, you're just limiting some of the apps, but with school time, they're all unavailable. That's it for this video. Leave a comment if you have any questions for me, and let me know what you think about Apple's approach to parental controls. And as always, please like and subscribe so that I can keep making more videos like this and so that you can see my latest videos right away. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.